Hi, everyone. My name is Lynette Davis, and I am the host of this year's Be the Change series. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
I am super delighted to have a very special guest with me today who we go a ways back actually. And I'm surprised that I'm finally interviewing her for this blog. um, so I am going to let her tell you about herself and what she does. And I know that you're going to be impressed because the very first time that I met our guest, Sabrina, I was just blown away by her humble spirit, her courageousness, and her story. So without further ado, Sabrina, welcome.
Hello, Lynette. Woohoo! How are you? How are you?
I am well. How about yourself?
I'm good. I am good. And as you were making that wonderful introduction, I was thinking about the very same thing this morning. I said, Lynette and I go back, it's been at least 10 years since we've known each other, right? Wow.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. It's,
Yes.
it's been close to 10 years. Wow. That's a long time. I
It
mean,
is.
yeah. Yeah. We met just as Eric's place infancy, actually. Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Incredible.
And,
Incredible.
and, and at that time, if I remember correctly, I was just getting started with A&D, which is no longer
Mm-hmm.
which is no
Mm-hmm.
longer around.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yep. And I remember I came up to your booth
Mm-hmm.
after I left the vicinity because my anxiety got so bad I walked out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came back. Your
Mm-hmm.
booth was the first one I came to.
Wow.
And I was so happy, and it was kind of like I didn't need to turn around past that.
Wow.
So
Wow. Wow. That's a blessing. That truly is a blessing to have a relationship with you for that long. I mean, we don't see each other every day or anything like that, but it is truly a blessing to have you in my life. And I
yeah.
appreciate all that you do and your greatness with your blog and your book and the graciousness that you offer to so many with all the skills, talents, and abilities that you have. Thank
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sabrina. That is kind of you to say. And you know what? I want to talk about the greatness that you are today.
you. Okay.
You mentioned was Eric's place, and everybody's like, okay, well, what's this Eric's place? And
Mm-hmm.
who is this great Sabrina that Lynette is
Mm-hmm.
gushing about? So tell us a little bit about yourself and your book in Eric's place.
Okay, a little bit about me. Well, my name is Sabrina Umstead Smith, and I am current resident. My husband and I live in Sicklerville, New Jersey. We have a blended family, if you will. And I have authored a book, partnered with an entity and on a book project also, and have a piece of my story in a collaborative effort. And I have been in this area for more than 20 years in the Sicklerville area. My husband and I. I'm also have my own business. I am a virtual assistant. So I'm on the small business side and the entrepreneur piece that most of us are in the gig economy anyway. So I enjoy that flexibility in my life, and I do some speaking engagements and book signings, and I also connect with organizations on the trajectory of Eric's Place. So let me start with Eric's Place because Eric's Place is where really it all kind of begins. Eric's Place is an organization, a nonprofit 501c3 that was established in memory of my son, Eric. Eric was a special needs child who passed away at the age of 3. And Eric was born full-term birth, but was not expected to live. So I'm going to put a pen there and hold it for a second and rewind real quickly. I was married many years ago to Eric's dad. Eric's dad and I met in April, got married in July, and he died in November, excuse me. So I was pregnant with our son, and we were all in a fire. And because of that fire, I lost my husband first, and then 3 years later, my son passed away. So that fire compromised my pregnancy in so much as having lost oxygen, being assumed dead, and police and fire departments, or police department not considering resuscitating us. And had it not been for the heroic efforts of a gentleman, a firefighter in New York City named Timothy Higgins, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you. And Eric would not have lived the 3 years that he did live. So that's the short version. I'll keep it as tight as possible. I went through a series of, after Eric passed away, I went through a very serious depression. Clint was diagnosed as being clinically depressed. So I had some mental health challenges, had to seek some therapy, and thank God for therapy. Let me just say that too. Put that mental health plug in there, because therapy is work that is necessary to get out of any challenges that you're having in terms of mental health. Out of that almost 3 years of therapy, Eric's Place was born. Every session I had with my therapist made me do work. She gave me homework every week to come home and start peeling this onion back to figure out what emotions and so forth I had been, just covering up and pressing through, or what I thought was pressing through anyway. So my last appointment with my therapist her question was, what is your son's legacy? And I'm like, okay, what are you talking about? What is my son's legacy? I don't know. So she said, well, when you come back, you're going to have an answer. So came up with Eric's Place. That's what the Lord laying on my heart. And actually, the original name of the organization was the Eric J. Umstead Memorial Foundation. Now, it's a mouthful. And my hairdresser at the time suggested that we call it Eric's Place. So I was like, oh, that's just wonderful. So that's what it is. Eric's Place is a nonprofit, like I said earlier, that we provide assistance to those individuals who have special needs children. Eric was a special needs child. He had a series of health challenges. He had a trach, he had G-tubes, was diagnosed as being cerebral palsy, mentally retarded, a host of challenges, period. So fast forward to now, and Eric's Place has been honored to provide college scholarships in excess of $10,000 to young men who are pursuing college. And we donate pajamas to area hospitals and pediatric facilities for children. And those pajamas have traversed as far as Brooklyn, New York, going north and south as far as Vineland, New Jersey. So those pajamas are, let's see, the number lately is over 12,000 pairs of brand new pajamas. So we're pleased about that as well. Out of all of that came my journey was a book. Okay, a book that I did not want to write, because I did not want to share this story with anyone, because I just didn't want to. It was my story, my pain, all of my stuff, if you will, that I just didn't feel was necessary for anyone to really have to know. But I have learned that it is our stories that encourage others to press through and to move on, and to give them credence that, yes, she went through that, he went through that, I can get through this. So I have a book. The book is titled Gratefully Disappointed. And many people say, huh? When they hear that title, Gratefully Disappointed. Well, I am grateful for all that I have been through, even though it was disappointing to have to go through it. And the subtitle of the book is Learn Through Forgiveness. And that comes from the mere fact of having met individuals who started a fire that took my family away from me. So I had to come to a place of forgiveness in order to even do the work that I do right now. So encouraging parents who have special needs children to, be advocates for their children, of course, while at the same time taking care of themselves, because self-care is part of the wholeness of our journey. We can't do anything for anyone else unless we put our mask on first and take care of ourselves. And I had to learn that. And I learned that because I had a support system at home when my son was alive that was second to none. So that's the other part of my life. And I reach out to people oftentimes to just plug some encouragement into them, give them a zap of encouragement, if you will, to let them know that no matter what it is you're going through, you can get through. It's just getting through to the other side. And there's a lesson. There's always a lesson in everything that we go through. We may not see it today, and we may not even see it tomorrow, but sometime during our lifetime, we will realize that we went through something for something, or somebody. So that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you. Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
sharing all of that, Sabrina.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a powerful story. And what a lot of people probably don't know is I read Sabrina's book, and I have to say that reading Sabrina's book and seeing her story actually changed the trajectory of how my book was. Because when I started my book, I just interviewed other women, and it was going to be sharing their narratives, not mine. I was like, I'm not putting my business out there because they get to be anonymous, not me. But after reading Sabrina's book, I got that boost of courage to go ahead and share my narrative within that story. So that's a fun tidbit for you all.
That's right.
Yeah, I was truly inspired by your book, and I highly recommend it for anybody, especially somebody who is going through a grieving process. So speaking of writing that book and sharing a piece of yourself, I'm curious because you said something about not wanting to do this, but understanding that sharing your story did exactly what it did for me, which was inspire me to want to change the dynamics of my book. So, and I feel as though essentially that's kind of being the change, but I'm not going to put words in your mouth. So what does be the change mean to you?
Why did I know that you were going to ask that question? Be the change for me means do you, okay? Do what you can, and I'll use that phrase, not to sound like a cliche. Do what you can with what you have where you are. So we can all make and be a change to the overall global experience just by being authentic, of course, loving and caring for other people. Okay, first and foremost, you have to appreciate all the the diversity in this nation in order to be the change, and left people where they are. Changing the world doesn't take a whole lot. To be the change means be yourself, be authentic, and make a difference. And you can make a difference by sharing your story. You can make a difference by sharing a smile. You can change a person's life, literally, just by saying hello. You don't know if they had a hello at any time in the last 24 hours, if they even had a smile presented to them, a good morning. Just attended an event on Saturday that the Lord just told me I had to go. And I'm like, well, it's pretty far away, but it didn't matter. I went. And to see the expression on the people the new people that I met, as well as someone who I had heard on the radio a bunch and was determined to meet, it made her day. So that changed somebody's trajectory in that room, that space that I was in. And we can do the same thing just by being authentic with each other and caring enough to support each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, speaking of caring enough, I am curious because there's so many different ways that we can be change.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody came across your organization, Eric's Place, and like, for instance, they'll see the main thing about giving pajamas
Mm-hmm.
to children in the different hospitals. Could you explain the benefits of giving pajamas to these kids in the hospitals?
Sure. Well, let me tell you how it came about. The social worker that my son had, I was able to reach out to before we started the organization and pose the question to her, what can children and parents use? And she said pajamas. And that kind of like threw me off. And she said the reason they can use pajamas is because children come into the hospital for all sorts of trauma and or illnesses, right? And they're often presented with pajamas from the hospital. I mean, Children's Hospital gives some pretty festive PJs. But there's nothing like having your own pajamas. Eric was fortunate enough to have a family who brought, his own clothing, PJs included, to the hospital for him to wear. But not everybody has that, option or opportunity. So pajamas put a smile on children's faces, because I got to tell you, some of these pajamas that we received to donate to the hospitals and facilities are just the cutest, most wonderful pieces of clothing that you could even think about. And then think about yourself when you get ready for bed. You have your shower, you put on your favorite nightshirt, your favorite PJs, and how do you feel? So transfer that to a little kid, a child in the hospital that has some character on their PJs that, some superhero character or their favorite cartoon character on their PJs that they get to take home with them. Okay. And I'll give you for instance, we've given PJs to Cooper Hospital, and one of the nurses there let us know that one of their patients comes in often. And she came in and she knew where the room was where the Eric's Place PJs were stored, but she brought the PJs that she had gotten the first time back with her in her little rollabout suitcase. And the nurses said, well, you can go into the room and get your PJs. She said, no, I already have my Eric's Place PJs. Thank you very much. I was over the top of that. So a pair of pajamas, don't take them for granted. Okay, they will warm the heart of the child as well as the family, because it is helpful to them as well.
Awesome. So there was another thing that I noted at the very beginning. Now, I kind of knew this, but that you are also a virtual assistant like myself. And so And I know firsthand being a virtual assistant is a lot of work because we manage multiple businesses.
Yes, we do.
To do all that and to write a book and to run a nonprofit is a lot.
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is.
So my question to you is for other business owners who are looking to do, and as a matter of fact, I'm speaking for myself because I'm in the process of starting a nonprofit. And I know there's other business owners who are looking to get involved with nonprofits, whether that be financially, on a board, on a committee, or starting their own in addition to their business. Could you give us just an example of how business owners and nonprofit organization founders can combine their superpowers and create real impact in the world, whether that person is the business owner and the founder?
Well, I have to be very, very transparent. It is not easy. Let me just say that. Trying to juggle all of, juggle clients and do your own thing. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't recommend it. I have to be transparent. I don't recommend it because your time is divided into little chunks that may not give you time for self-care. So I had to learn that, though. I did. I had to learn that and had to realize that I needed to put some parameters on the things that I was doing in my business. So that means focusing on one client or two, maybe, not any more than that, I would suggest. And then you have to be on a real tight schedule, a really disciplined schedule to get it all done. And some days you're not going to get it all done. Let's just be real, okay? So you take time to do your work that is bringing you income, and then you take time to do the work from your heart. So how much of an 8-hour day are you going to carve for that? Because you need time to rest and refuel. And if you have a family, I have a husband, so I got to take care of my husband and spend time, share time with my husband. And those are important, okay? And, yourself and the other responsibilities that you have. So just be cognizant of what you're getting into if you're going to do multiple tasks, and realize that you can't do everything. You just cannot do everything because you're going to wear yourself out. You end up getting sick and your health is compromised, and it's not worth it. You find the one or two clients that you want to service, and you carve time for them, and you carve time for the business or nonprofit that you are establishing. And know that nonprofit is a business. It is a business, and you have to run it like a business. Okay, it's not a hobby. So that's my 2 cents.
I love that. You know what? Honestly, I had a feeling that you would come from that perspective, which is why I wanted to hear from you. Because a lot of times, we read all the articles, and they're like, you have to have your hands in multiple streams of income. And that's the way of the world. Busy, busy, busy. And I'm like, I would love to, it'll be really refreshing to hear somebody go, you know what?
Well, that's my perspective. Okay. That's what I learned from my bloody knees. That's what I have learned is you can't do everything. You just cannot do everything. And I'm not trying to do everything anymore. That's
right on.
And now I have it on a recording, so it can be in my face any time of the day. Well, I thought you said, oh, I did say that, didn't I? Okay, so don't bite off too much more than you can chew, was what the old folks used to say. So,
Sound advice.
And to be effective, you want to be effective, right? You don't want to, oh, well, she started this and she didn't finish that. And I'm like, wait a minute, stop it. Let's just stop and take stock of what you want to do and focus on that.
Love that. And you know what? I think I'm going to end it with that, because usually I ask for this last actionable piece of advice, but honestly, everything that that you have been saying is very actionable and sound advice. But just in case, did you want to add anything else to what you just said to leave with us?
I do want to add one thing, and I mentioned it kind of briefly about the our mental health. And I'm going to say this because I just feel the need for it. We have to realize that we have to take care of ourselves, and we can't do everything for everybody and take care of ourselves. So if it means getting up in the morning and having time for prayer or meditation, whatever you want to call it, just take some time for you at some point in the day, because you deserve it, period. You deserve time for yourself, and you cannot help the world if you don't take care of yourself. That's my 2 cents.
2 cents. And
my 2 cents. My 25 cents.
Love it. I love it. Sabrina, thank you. As always, I am always so very grateful when I have a moment to sit around you, even if virtually, to hear what you have to say. I can tell everybody that you are one of very few people that I like to have pour into me.
Oh, thank you, Lynette. Thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And don't stop doing what you're doing, because it's necessary. It is necessary. Your light shines brightly. And I am so happy that I know Lynette Davis. She all that and a bag of chips and some Pepsi Cola.
Oh, man. And some Pepsi Cola. Oh, man.
Oh, I love you and I appreciate you. I really do.
Sabrina, I love you too. Thank you so much.
You're
and
welcome.
I'm truly appreciative of everything that you have said, truly. And I remember when we first met, it was hard for me to take compliments. It's still very hard for me to take compliments, but I'm getting better at it.
Good, very good. Yes, you are. You're getting much better at it. I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you. You've come a long way. Like I said, we've known each other almost 10 years.
Yes, thank you. And so have you. So have you.
You know, we grow and we learn and we become wise and we share, and that's what this life is all about.
Awesome. So Sabrina, thank you again. And everybody watching, I hope that you got tremendous value out of our brief conversation. And if you would like to stay in touch with Sabrina so you can learn more about Eric's Place, if you're interested in getting her book or learning about her VA services, Sabrina, what's the best way that people can get in contact with you?
Well, I will leave the Gratefully Disappointed website, which is exactly what it is, gratefully-disappointed.com. And it's gratefully, actually, here's the book. Can I do that? Okay, here's the book. And the website is gratefully-disappointed.com. And the book is purchasable there. And you can get an autographed copy sent to you. But that's the best place to reach me, gratefully-disappointed.com.
Awesome. Thank you. I was hoping you would pull it. I thought I had a hard copy, but I think I have an e-copy.
Yeah.
So I couldn't show mine.
Yeah. But thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. And everybody, thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
So until the next time, everybody, peace, love, and wellness.
Oh, I like that.
I just added that. I kept doing whatever. So I have some symbols now. I'll remember that for
Okay.
next time.
Good. I will use them too. I'll be using them. Thank you for sharing that.
All
Peace,
right,
love, and
everybody.
mommy. Bye.
Take care.